Hey, 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 everybody! Welcome back to another fantastic Friday with Dannphan. I hope you all had a great week. I hope you had fun doing whatever it is you do during the summer. Great 4th of July weekend, perhaps. I guess that did happen. But yeah, my god, for me personally, this week just absolutely sped by at supersonic speeds. Not nearly slow enough for me. But I guess that's what happens when you have a lot of stuff on your plate, stuff to get done, etc., etc. So I see Brian is first, and then Gabe and Ishkra. What is up, everybody? So what is new in the news? Well, I know that new Superman movie came out, and a lot of people are talking about that. Apparently, fans are kind of split on whether or not it's a good movie. I was considering checking it out. But I have not yet, so I cannot give you, my own personal thoughts on the Superman movie. When I do see it, I'll let you know what I think. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of new stuff coming out. It makes sense, right? Because during the summer, it feels like that's when there's a lot of stuff happening, I guess. I don't know, maybe the idea is because kids are off on summer vacation, they'll be consuming more media? I don't exactly know what the real reason is behind all the summer TV shows and comics and stuff coming out all at once. This week feels like it ended before it began. Yeah, I can kind of get that. It really... I started this week and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get so much done. And, not that I got nothing done, but definitely not as much as I had hoped I would get done. Yeah, I'm still working on the Reaper comic, of course. It's going okay so far, but I am a little bit more behind than I thought I would be. Part of it is because I'm redrawing pages that I had previously drawn for the promotion. The promotional pages, promotional material. Because Ichabod's main outfit has changed since then. So you gotta make those little small adjustments, and that's not too tedious to go through and just make the tiny adjustments on the outfit. But so long as I'm editing it, I figure I might as well fix all these other things, such as, maybe the face not being quite right, or all these whatever extra lines that I drew, fix them up. And so then it ends up taking a little bit longer than it might have taken, but considering that it's all for the better at the end of the day, I don't see it as a waste of time. It's just a shame that, it's more time I have to sink in. But I feel like if it's going to lead to it being a better comic in the end, it makes sense. It's like an investment. You gotta invest that time, for sure. Let's see, Ishkra says, I lost interest in that movie because of the dog. Crypto is an idea too stupid to like? I don't know, because in general, I see Superman the property as being like kind of this campy, optimistic type of IP. Granted, I guess modern DC does not see it that way, because modern DC tried to go the edgy route with all of their properties. And some people like the edgy route, some people don't. It really depends on where you lean. But I don't mind Crypto. I think he kind of fits in that kind of, campy, optimistic superhero universe type. But if you're the part of the side that is like, no, everything should be dark and edgy, then I guess Crypto would definitely not make any sense. So I don't know. Let's see. Summer anime season's happening. Anime Expo occurred over the weekend. Elio's completely forgotten. Yeah, I heard that Elio did not do very good. Now, to some extent, it almost seems a shame because I think the plot for Elio is kinda cute. You know, like, the aliens want to speak to a human leader and this kid ends up being mistaken for the leader of Earth. That's kind of a cute idea. It's just a shame that they didn't really put much thought behind it beyond that. Everything else about the movie I hear is very bland, and stuff happens is essentially how it can be summarized. Nothing sticks with you from the movie is what I heard. And it's the worst sin of all, they say. Brian says, I was off this weekend, spent a good part of it going between coloring and playing video games. Nice. And to be fair, crypto is Superman lore. Yeah, I guess so. I began viewing some of the summer anime. So far I watched the new adaptations of Jukoku Sensei Nube. I've been digging it. Yeah, from what I've heard, Elio is not a bad film. Yeah, I don't know. I heard it was like kind of mediocre. The problem with it that I've heard consistently is that the pacing is not very good. Like, pacing-wise, it was not all there. But I also know that it went through some severe edits, like last minute, and that would explain a lot of the pacing issues, for sure. Because anything that I mean, granted, there are exceptions to this rule, but anything that goes through, like, very severe, last-minute, crazy edits, yeah, it makes sense that, the pacing would suffer from that. Looks more interesting than something like Lightyear and Strange World. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a very cute plot. I could see potential in that tiny snippet of the plot. But, you know, the problem is step 2. It's like, okay, so this kid is mistaken for the leader of Earth. What's step 2? Where's the conflict? And I don't know. People reviewing the film seem to not really know. They say that there was just like a shoehorn villain last minute, and yeah, I can't really review it personally. I'm just reciting what I've heard, but you know how it is. Maybe not super edgy, but a super dog. It's campy. It's cute. I don't know. Like, I don't mind it. It's not something that I would put in my own stuff, but I don't mind it. But yeah. So, Superman movie. If anyone's seen it, let us know what you think about it in the chat. I guess speaking of superhero stuff, me and Adam were binging the first 2 Spider-Man movies recently. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Not the third one. The third one doesn't exist, but you know. That was an interesting blast from the past. He didn't really remember much about the first Spider-Man movie, besides, you know, the super iconic scenes. And, you know, to some extent I kind of fall under the same boat, where some of the scenes in the Spider-Man movies are so well executed that they stand out to you for years, whereas, you know, the not as good stuff kind of gets muddied under the water. But one of the things that you can compliment about Spider-Man 1 right away is that it has tremendous pacing. Pacing in the sense that it's quick, but it doesn't feel quick. It doesn't feel jumpy. They make really good use of their time to explain everything without, you know, outright explaining everything. You know, like, even just the first few minutes of the Spider-Man movie, and you're like, okay, I understand every single character just by looking at them, just by seeing them interact with each other in the world. Very good. And, I mean, the directing, the amount of silent emotion that they get across, also very good. You can tell just based on, like, a character looking at another character, what they're feeling, and they just knew what they were doing. It was very solid. And in general, the horror scenes. I mean, you could argue that they went a little bit too hard in the second movie, because Jesus Christ, that Doc Ock scene where he's like killing all of those like doctors while he's unconscious, that was crazy. It was crazy, and it's probably longer than you remember. By far. Probably longer than you remember. I think while I was watching it, it felt like it was 2 or 3 minutes of that. Just like screaming and this desperation to try to survive against these fucking mechanical tentacles. Horrific. Horrific. But I guess that makes sense for this director, for Mr. Sam Raimi here. It's good. I mean, it really does stand out to you even after all these years. Gotta give it that. I will say this, though. Something that we noticed about the first 2 movies, we remembered it in the third movie, but we didn't realize that it also existed in the first 2 movies. And it is a very noticeable flaw. And part of me was wondering, man, should I make a video talking about this one particular flaw? It's not something that nobody else has noticed. I've seen other people occasionally talk about it or mention it offhand, you know, maybe like in Twitter posts or other stuff. But they never really go into deep detail about why it's such a problem. And I was thinking, maybe, is it too late? Or should I make a video discussing, like, one of the most fatal flaws about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies? It's an interesting topic, I think. I think it's a very interesting topic. It's a problem that existed for a lot of 2000 movies in the day. And I think it's something that a lot of people either forget about or don't want to remember, straight up. But, I don't know. Maybe I should put together like a little video essay talking about it at some point. Yeah. I guess it's never too late to talk about great movies, right? Because everybody always wants to hear about them. Even years later down the line, people are still like, man, nostalgia. That's the movie I remember. But yeah. I haven't really watched too many of the new Spider-Man movies. I watched the like crossover one, what was it, No Way Home? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was No Way Home. That was weird. I didn't like it. But I had also watched it without any context to the other previous Spider-Man movie. Like, I didn't watch Homecoming. I just went straight to watching No Way Home, and I was like, what the heck is going on? This is weird. Why is J. Jonah Jameson a villain in this one? Why is he just an absolute villain? What's going on? He was a good guy. He was like a harsh guy, but he was a good guy. I don't... That's not even the first time I've necessarily seen him interpreted that way, though, because I think one of the Spider-Man video games also, like, interprets him as being just a villain, and that's... You kind of miss the point, you know? You kind of miss the point. But, whatever. I guess everyone will have their own interpretations on the Spider-Man characters and how they're supposed to be, especially when you're giving this IP to so many different writers. They're all going to have their own interpretation on what they thought they were supposed to get out of these characters and these stories, and they're going to kind of regurgitate that. You know, it's the whole thing with, like, passing the message, and as you're passing the message, you're mishearing things, or you're messing things up, and then by the time you get to the end, it's, like, nothing like the original message anymore. But, you know. I know I don't watch modern Spider-Man movies. Yeah, well, that was the last one I watched. Once I watched No Way Home, didn't watch anymore. I didn't like that one. I mean, it's cool seeing Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man again, but that was about it. That was all I liked about it. And then I didn't watch any of the Spider-Verse ones either. Not even the animated Spider-Man movies I didn't watch. I hear the first Spider-Verse was very good though. I had considered watching it, I just never really got around to it. Spider-Man 2 is the least of this Raimi trilogy I've watched. The least or the last? Don't forget the best Marvel movie from the newest generation is the one Spider-Verse movie. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the good JJJ tried to capture Spider-Man in the past, allied himself with villains on some occasion too. Which versions are you referring to? 'Cause, like, I remember growing up with, like, the Spider-Man cartoon. That was definitely a huge part of, like, my impression of Spider-Man. Even in the cartoon, he wasn't necessarily a bad guy. He was against vigilantes. That was a big thing. And I think in the comics somewhere, someone referenced this at one point. I'm sure someone else out there knows the context. But somewhere in a comic, they give him a reason for being against vigilantes. And obviously it's some sort of traumatic reason, you know, where like a vigilante tried to save someone and then screwed them over. But yeah, in the Raimi movies, he was definitely supposed to be a good guy. In the cartoon, he was like harsh but good, and they like kind of mess around with him being like kind of mean, but you know. The comics, but the Spider-Man, the animated series, he helped made the Scorpion to hunt down Spider-Man. Jonah did help create the villain Scorpion in the comics. He even used a spider slayer. What does that mean? What's a spider slayer? To capture Spidey. Was he under the impression that the Scorpion was doing a good thing? Like a vigilante on vigilante thing? It's funny because, in the first Spider-Man movie, they reference the Scorpion, and I didn't even notice it at first. They reference the Scorpion in the first Spider-Man movie, and then in the second one, they reference the Lizard, I think. Or whatever. I think he actually is just called the Lizard, but, you know, the Lizard villain, whoever he's called. Took me +5 times to watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2018. It took me +5 times? Like you watched it 5 times? In the comics, JJJ said he was jealous of Spider-Man. In the 90s cartoon, he hates Spidey because his wife was shot by a man in a mask. Oh, was it from the cartoon? I thought it was from a comic. Well, then again, I guess they kind of play off of each other because, like, it depends who's on the comics and who's on the... Yeah, right. Spider Slayers were robots designed specifically to capture Spider-Man, yes. Well, that makes sense. His first wife was killed by a masked guy or something? Yeah, right. In the movies, he still has a wife, though. She's not dead. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was his first wife and then he remarried. Oh, because of low FPS. That's interesting. Okay. Made robots to kill Spider-Man. They were called Spider Slayers. Kill or capture, because those are two very different things. Spider Slayers, robots. Yeah, I gotcha. Have you seen the Jurassic World Rebirth yet? And are you excited about the Power Rangers Disney Plus show happening? Do you love Rock a Fire Explosion 2. Okay, so no idea what the last one is. I have heard stories about Jurassic World Rebirth. I will say this, I for the most part have been out of the Jurassic Park loop. I saw the first movie when I was very young, quite frankly, too young, and it traumatized me. And then I saw like clips of a newer, I think it was the first Jurassic World with Chris Pratt, and you know, still kind of traumatized. And yeah, so I hear that this new Jurassic World Rebirth came out recently and a lot of people don't like it. I don't know the reason why that is. I don't know, like, the details of it. But apparently people really don't like it. And from what I understood, I think people were pretty lukewarm about the other Jurassic World films as well. So I don't know. But yeah, the horror is a little bit too much for me. That's the thing. There's like a lot of depressing stuff that I just don't want to be looking at. K-pop Demon Hunters, do you have any thoughts on that movie? I think I've seen one single post about K-pop Demon Hunters, and it was a bunch of cartoon people looking at the camera, making weird faces, and I thought, that looks like something I don't want to watch. So no, I haven't seen it. That was not the best introduction to seeing K-pop Demon Hunters, is to see that whatever that screenshot was, it was terrible. The new Jurassic World movies just seem like CGI shit shows. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It is impressive that the first one was using all those practical effects. And it looked good. It looked really good. Even if it did traumatize me. It traumatized me because it looked so good. In fact, you know? Yeah, haven't seen any of the Jurassic World films, just Jurassic Park films. Only seen the first, honestly. I haven't even seen the sequels to Jurassic Park. It's just that first one. K-pop Demon Hunters is not bad from what I've heard. Have you seen Turning Red, and have you read the new Powerpuff Girls comics yet? I've seen Turning Red. I didn't know there was new Powerpuff Girls comics. I've read old Powerpuff Girls comics, for sure. Didn't know there were new ones. I did hear Craig McCracken is trying to work on a new Powerpuff Girls show, from what I understand. I don't know if it's supposed to be a revival or a new season, or if they're going to do something different with it. I don't know the exact plans, but I did hear that Craig McCracken was trying to work on something with the Powerpuff Girls again. It makes sense when that, what was it, the 2016 reboot? But they didn't call it a reboot. They just acted as though it was a new season onto the original Powerpuff Girls, which just made it that much more confusing. That was terrible. I didn't like that at all. I was very repulsed by it, in fact. And then there was that whole live action fiasco. Oh my god, that was funny. I'll give it that. That was very funny. The live action Powerpuff Girls. That got canceled so hard. Deserved, honestly. K-pop Demon Hunters is a shockingly good movie. Is it anti-demon? I will not watch it if it is pro-demon. They're demon hunters, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Netflix? I don't know. I see Netflix and I'm not super convinced. It's about Korean heritage. Why don't they just tell me the plot? Okay, you got demons preyed upon humans, feeding their soul to their ruler, Gwima. Gwima? Hang on. I gotta share screen. Otherwise you won't know what I'm looking at. There it is. There's the plot. 3 women rose as demon hunters, sealed demons from the human world, creating a magic barrier known as the Han Moon. Their legacy continued across generations, with each new trio using their singing voices to maintain the Han Moon. Okay, hence why they do K-pop. I get it. Alright. Alright, and then, Rumi begins losing her voice due to secretly being part demon. Oh, there it is! There it fucking is! God damn it! Alright, no, okay, I'll read the rest. But I swear to God, if they do, the demons are actually just as good as humans. Celine, as a child, Celine told Rumi to complete the eradication of demons. Will turn the Hanmoon gold, a final seal that could permanently banish them and possibly erase her demon patterns. Okay, good. We're back. You know, you lost me for a second there. You got me back. We're back on. Gwima grows enraged as minions fail. Okay, I don't know if any of this is as important. Jin Yu tells Rumi that demons are enslaved by feelings of shame and sorrow? Oh, so it's not their fault that they're demons? It's not their fault that they're doing bad things because they feel ashamed and sorry? What? Where's this going? Where is this going? Mira grows suspicious of Rumi when she questions if takedown is too hateful towards demons. Rumi proposes a plan to Jinnu if she helps Hunter/X. Fucking these names! These names are getting worse! What is this? This isn't Korean. They don't have slashes as part of their names. You're killing me. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted already. Freerun, go eradicate these people. Send Freerun after these people. No. Okay. She flees the stage. Okay. Rumi confronts Jinnu for tricking her, who admits to lying about his past. Casts a trance over Mira, Zoe, and the public, drawing them to Saja Boy's final performance designed to shatter the Hanmoon and unleash him. Rumi meets with Celine and asks her to end her life since she's half demon. Celine refuses and offers to conceal the events, but Rumi lashes out at Celine for never fully loving her before leaving. Rumi interrupts the Sajad boy's performance with a new song addressing shame and fear, which breaks the Guima's trance. The united Hunter/X fight back and free the crowd. A repentant Jinnu sacrifices himself to save Rumi from the Guima and transfers his restored soul to her, ultimately sealing the demons and restoring the Hanmoon. Afterwards, Rumi, no longer ashamed of her marks, relaxes with Mira and Zoe. Her marks? I thought she was going to, like, erase her demon ancestry. This is very complicated he said, she said type of type of plot here. This is like 90% drama, honestly. Yeah, it's a Chad Freerun greater than virgin K-pop hunters. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even quite sure what I'm supposed to take from this. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of he said, she said. Did you see the new comments I posted in the chat? You mean while I was reading this long, complicated plot for K-pop Demon Hunters? No. My eyes only go in one direction. Let's see. It's their fault. Their shame is very much their fault. It's the evil they committed in life, which now tortures them beyond death. Demons are not blameless, and even they know this. I don't know. Shameless is usually the word that you give people who are immoral and refuse to change. So I'm not 100% sure what they're going for with that. Never said it was made, but never said that it was made by Koreans. It was made by the studio of the first Spider-Verse movie. What do you mean? It says it right at the top here. Let's see. It says that it's like about like Korean heritage. I read it out loud. Or one of the persons said that it was. Ah, yes. Originated from Kong's desire to create a story inspired by her Korean heritage, drawing on elements of mythology, demonology, and K-pop to craft a visually distinct and culturally rooted film. Yeah. No, I mean, I know that it came from Sony Pictures and it was released by Netflix. But, I mean, like, look at all these Korean names. It's supposed to be a Korean story. Give it a shot? I don't know, man. Like I said, it seems very drama heavy. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really convinced. Hunter/X is just a fancy way of writing Huntrix, which is the name of the titular demon hunting band. Okay. It is a little bit confusing. How's the songs, though? Are the songs good? You gotta have good songs. If you're gonna, like, revolve a whole movie about the songs, gotta be good songs, guys. You have a obligation at that point. Speaking of Netflix, they released some old episodes of Detective Conan redubbed and with the original Japanese names in their saga called Conan versus the Black Organization. That's pretty neat. Not bad. So Anime Expo, you see some of the announcements from there. I know that Freerun Season 2, it got an official PV released. That's exciting. Let me look at the Anime Summer 2025 list. I think, yeah, my anime list has it up here. Oh, a lot of second seasons right at the top. People should know that I just want to see the new stuff and not the second season stuff. Oh, look at that. Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. So, this is a romance. I've seen a lot of guys reading this romance manga, and they think it's like the best romance that ever existed. And the reason why I mention that is because a lot of girls won't really talk about this manga that much. but for some reason, something about the writing and the art, I think for some reason appeals to a lot of guys, because a lot of male manga readers will talk about this all the time. I've read some of it. I think it has a really weak opening. Quite honestly, I think it has a really weak opening. But once they actually start dating, I think it gets much better. I think it gets much better, because I don't really like the weird drama friend stuff, and the whole plot about the super rich school being literally right next to a super poor school, it makes no sense. It's a little bit silly. You really need to suspend your disbelief for that one. But that is essentially like, and it also doesn't really play that much of a part besides creating conflict between characters. To be like, oh, well, you came from the super poor school, therefore I don't like you, is, you know, it's a little bit silly. But it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to completely slam on this one. It's not bad. I think most people will probably enjoy it. And like I said, for some reason it appeals to a lot of guys. So if you're a guy and you don't want to look like a... if you don't want to look weird for enjoying a romance, by all means, that's probably a romance that a lot of other guys will be like, hell yeah, man. Based. You like that romance? That's cool. Rascal does not dream of Santa Claus. What the fuck is going on over there? Okay, we got a lot of season 2s. I don't really bother looking into the season 2s that much. Not unless it's something that I'm genuinely surprised to see a season 2 of. Secrets of the Silent Witch I've been seeing around. I've not checked it out yet. I don't know the plot, but since I have you guys here, I might as well read the plot and give you my initial thoughts. Monica Everett. First of all, solid name. Hell yeah. That's a main character name right there. Monica Everett, the Silent Witch. Mage in the world who can use enchanted magecraft. So, Silent Witch. She doesn't have to yell out her spells. That's okay. Good starting point. Let's go. A true hero who single-handedly defeated a legendary black dragon. Alright, whatever. However, this young genius is actually super duper shy. That's right, she learned to cast spells silently just to avoid speaking in public. Alright, so we got a Comey can't communicate situation here. Despite her power, she has zero self-confidence. Now Monica has been tasked with secretly guarding the second prince. Oh, is this a romance? Is this a romance? I might want to watch this if it's just a romance. Can she keep it together as she faces both the evil forces targeting the prince and the terrors of social interaction? You know what? You son of a bitch, I'm in. I'm in. You got me. It's a solid introduction. I feel it. It is a little bit, taken a little bit from Comey Can't Communicate, but that was a good concept, and it's not a bad thing to apply to other situations. Son of a bitch, I am in. Hell yeah. That's my thing. Water magician. Okay, we got an elementalist. Adam would like that. He'd like it more if it was fire, of course, but Adam really is into elementalist type of magic users. But it's an isekai. Isekais. Not the biggest fan of isekais, though. Let's see. I'll read this one out next. Rio be reincarnated in the fantastic world of Fee. Nah, not a good name for the world, where he thinks he'll get to live a quiet life learning how to use his newfound water magic. Going with the flow here, however, means something very different. Pit against the wildlands, deadly monsters, stuck fighting for his life, but luckily he's naturally optimistic. With the hidden eternal... Oh, a hidden trait, of course. Every isekai, man. Okay. Nah, I don't know. Maybe I'll mention it to Adam, but I don't think he'd be super interested in some, like, isekai thing. He does love elementalist stuff, though. He does. More season 2s. More isekais. What else is there? Reborn as a vending machine. Yeah, I'll get on reading that. Hanako-kun season 2. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. Nothing super interesting. Damn. That girl is not attractive, huh? God damn. She is in fact ugly. Yeah, I mean, good job, artist. You did show that very well. No, I'm not. You can watch it. It's probably cute. It's probably a cute anime. It's just very funny that even from here, I'm like, damn, that girl is not supposed to be drawn attractively, huh? Let's see, solo camping for 2? Okay, solo camping. That doesn't sound very fun, gotta be honest. I guess that's probably the point. Yeah, some more fantasy stuff. Ruler's Crown. Almost done, and then I'll get back to looking at chat. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, those were, I'll definitely look at the Silent Witch one, for sure. Everything else, I'm kinda, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I saw this manga being advertised to me, like, what is this? Huh? What are you trying to say? What are you censoring in your title? What are you trying to say? What? Just say it, you coward! Just put it in your title! I honestly don't even know! God. Who cares? I see Syscon in the fucking description. I'm not even gonna bother. We're not even gonna worry about this right now. I'm just saying. It's like, what are you doing censoring your fucking title like that? What, her pussy is about to collapse? What does it mean? What does that mean? It's not having the impact that you think it has. Goddamn. Alright. Back to looking at chat. I need to watch City, the animation, if it's available. Yeah, I did see that on the list. I don't know what that is supposed to be. Oh, also harems. There's always a fucking harem involved. Very true, very true. Ugly by what case? Well, you can just tell that she's not meant to be drawn attractively. And, like, the guy isn't very much supposed to be drawn attractively. They gave her, like, very small eyes, and she's very thick, especially when put next to the guy. She's, like, of equal thickness as the man. But, you know. How do I get good at art? I sort of get carried away by adding things to my pieces. How do you get good? I think learning fundamentals is the biggest thing. Learning and perfecting fundamentals is how you get good, typically. It's like the basic building blocks of creating art, I guess. But yeah, so strong it can't be read. I guess so. But, yeah, so Silent Witch sounds good. I saw that on the internets. On the internets, I won't say where. But, oh, actually, Kaiju number 8, season 2. That is good to see. I missed that one when I was first scrolling through the list because I was just like, yeah, I don't really care about the season 2s. Kaiju number 8, season 2. I feel it. Okay, that's cool. I actually enjoyed the first season, you know? I was very critical about the Kaiju number 8 character designs because they are kind of different from the original manga, but the actual anime is pretty good. It is pretty solid. I think the pacing is just about right. I like the animation, actually. I think they managed to make, you know, exciting scenes very exciting. And overall, I had a good time watching it, you know? I can't say the same with Dannphan. Controversial take. I think the Dannphan anime was pretty cheap feeling. Yeah, it was not all there. I didn't really like I stopped watching the Dannphan anime straight up because I didn't think it lived up to the manga at all. I know, controversial take. There's a bunch of people who would like share very short sections of the anime and be like, "Whoa, this animation's so good," but they're like kind of cherry picking because there's a lot of animated scenes in the Dannphan anime that looks like garbage, and I saw most of that from what I watched of it. Maybe it gets better. I don't know. Maybe the animation gets better later on. What I saw wasn't very good, but you know, that's the thing. That's the thing. But yeah, if you guys have any of these anime that you're interested in or looking forward to, let me know. Let me know. I like the Dannphan anime, but then again, I didn't read the manga. The manga is very high quality art, I would say. It's very good art. And they tried, I'm not saying they didn't try with the anime, but there's a lot of tweening and a lot of there's a lot of characters not being in the right perspective with the backgrounds. That was really odd. And yeah, I just couldn't watch it. And there would be fight scenes where they would just have do the slideshow thing with the anime. But you know, maybe the fight scenes get better later on. I only watched the first 2 episodes, maybe. I also didn't... Yeah, another controversial take. I didn't like the opening. A lot of people really liked the opening. I really didn't. I really didn't like that opening. The ending theme was okay. I liked the ending theme. I didn't like the opening theme, though. The ending theme also has animation that actually goes with the music. The opening theme animation doesn't really go with the music that well. I don't know what they were thinking. It's a little bit odd one. Opening grew on me? I don't think it would grow on me. It's just a genre that I don't like. Just straight up, I don't like that genre of music. Did you read Claymore? I've read all of Claymore. That's an old one. That's a classic fantasy one for a lot of people. Demon Slayer finale movies are going to be put out soon. That's interesting. Yeah. You like Berserk? Berserk is fine. Yeah. I've also read all of the Berserk manga. I'm looking forward to the Reaper anime series, yeah. We'll get on that. You are a tough mistress. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own opinions. I like the manga fine. I like the manga. But it is a little bit different in how they approach things, especially with pacing and stuff of that nature. But yeah, it is what it is. There's a ton of anime that are popular that I just don't like. And I don't like them for a lot of the same reasons. There are just certain things that don't appeal to me that might appeal to other people. So I think you could probably, based on a plot of something, you could probably guess whether or not I like something. I would say 90% of the time, because I'm pretty transparent about, especially tropes that I don't like. I'm pretty transparent about those things. I think you can usually assume that if it's an isekai, I don't like it. Usually. Because a lot of the isekais that I've watched usually follow the same tropes over and over again. And then as soon as one isekai does something different, they all copy it. 9 more come out, and they're all just copying the new, different thing that one of them did. And then it just gets all muddied again, and now nothing matters. Heard 100 Girlfriends was canceled because they didn't want to hire hundreds of voice actresses. That's very funny. That's very funny. Obviously, you could have voice actresses just do different voices. But what about parody isekai? Well, parody isekai has its own set of expectations on it. Because now, not only do you have to do like the isekai thing, but you have to do a good job at joking about it. You have to do a good job with making jokes. And a lot of parody isekai usually just is lazy isekai. You know, usually it's not actually funny, it's just like, it's a vending machine. Reincarnated as vending machine. Haha. It's a joke. But then there's nothing else there. There's nothing else funny. You know, it's just, haha, aren't I so quirky? It's a vending machine. Ah. What's the oldest movie you've ever seen? Oldest as in, like, what's the first movie I've ever seen? Or what's, like, the dated when it came out oldest? Did you enjoy my next life as a villainess? There's so many anime with as a villainess as part of their title. I don't even know which one you're talking about, honestly. They're all titled almost exactly the same. Type in villainous manga and you'll get a million different manga that have villainous in the title. It's insane. Dated oldest. That's a good question. I feel like I've watched a film that was like dated in 1920s or something, but I'm not 100% sure. I think, you know, the oldest one that I can remember offhand would probably be that one. Ah, man. What was the name of that movie? It's like kind of a Christmas movie, but not really. I'll look it up. Hang on. Maybe I just type in old Christmas movies. Ghosts of Friends. They were friends, they were ghosts. Ah, god damn it. It's not... I'm not thinking of... I'm not thinking of A Christmas Carol, although I have seen that might be older, actually, than the one I'm thinking of. I'm not 100% sure. Man, it's so hard to remember the names of movies when you... Stop trying to recommend stuff. Beyond Tomorrow. That wasn't actually that old. That was 1940. I thought it was much older than it was, but I think that's because the quality is just really bad. Like, the quality of the movie that's available online is just, like, really rough. But no, I don't think this is actually as old of a movie as I thought it was. I think A Christmas Carol is actually older than this one. Which is also kind of rough quality, but not as rough. Well, I've seen them both, so. The Bishop's Wife, It's a Wonderful Life. No, I think those are newer. Those are both newer. If we're counting short films, saw some Silent Laurel and Hardy films. Was it good? I might have to check it out. I thought it was pretty good. For like a seasonal movie, it's like, yeah, okay. It's one of those, actually, how old is the... I've seen a lot of movies from like the 40s, 50s. So usually, yeah, this is another 1940s movie. Figures. Same year. You wouldn't think that this movie came out around the same year as Beyond Tomorrow, because it's such better quality as far as like file on the internet anyways. I don't know why that is. Shop Around the Corner is another great movie, by the way, for the holiday. James Stewart is in it as well, so if you like It's a Wonderful Life, you know, he's in this one. And he's also doing a great job in his role. If you're a James Stewart fan, there you go. That's another great film with him in it. But yeah, it's like one of those movies where I'll go over the plot briefly because we don't really have much time left. It's like a bunch of friends who are kind of older make friends or like match make these two people together. So they're a couple now and they're getting married. But then the older friends die and their ghosts are still watching over the couple that they helped get together. But one of the guy in the couple is like being tempted by some whore, right? And so the ghost friends are trying to prevent him from essentially ruining his life and his marriage and trying to keep him faithful. And yeah, it's a fun movie. It's very emotional, so keep that in mind, of course. But it's back during a day when cheating was a bad thing in movies and wasn't fantasized about by weirdos in the 2000s. So yeah, this. It's just one of those. But yeah, so the hour is up, folks. But thanks for joining me on another Friday with Dannphan. I feel like we went over a lot of random different stuff. But that's all right. We got to talk about a bunch of different things. Yeah. So I don't know what video I should do next. Maybe I should do the Spider-Man video, talking about that flaw that we noticed in the Spider-Man movies. I don't know, would people be upset? Would people be upset if I mentioned something that was wrong in the Spider-Man movies? Because I still do like them, despite the fact that it has this flaw in it. But I don't know, maybe people are too overprotective of it. Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you want me to do like that video about that, and I'll have to talk to you again next time here on the Dannphan channel. So have a good rest of your Friday, and I'll see you next week, probably, maybe. And yeah, good night, everybody. See you next